There's a dead man in a wheelbarrow out there.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
You do this?
I did this because they did that. What, are you gonna puke?
Not gonna.
Hey, do not leave your DNA for the police, all right? Just hey, don't do. Hey,
Give me a second.
said you wanted to be the guidance system, right? Well, that's what happens when the missile goes off. Guess you never thought about that, did you?
Smells more than I thought.
Get used to it.
I'd rather not.
This life's a little easier staring at a computer screen, huh? Now you get in that van and let's go.
What about him?
Not our problem.
All this, you're taking the Mustang?
Always buy American.
Welcome to Panels to Pixels. This is episode 4. My co-host tonight will be Steve Brown. Tonight's episode is Netflix Punisher episode 4, Resupply. Thank you, Steve, for coming out. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
So, what do you feel about this episode? What was it about?
Well, I actually put down a few sentences here. So the way I phrased it is Punisher is looking for guns and ammo. Madani is still investigating Wolf's murder. Her and her partner are going after the same guns that Frank and Micro are trying to get a hold of. And like I said earlier, I really, when I first saw this episode, I thought of it as a filler episode. But upon rewatching it today a couple of times, I realized there's a whole lot more in it than just that. It's not just the search for guns and ammo. It's not just the moving of pieces together. There really are some very pivotal things that we find out in this episode and that happen here that we get to see going forward, that move the story forward more.
Cool. Yeah, it did seem to move forward in some ways with the respect of Madani. Oh, we got to know her a little bit more and what she was looking for. And on top of that, you have what I saw was more of a relationship between Frank and Micro and Lewis, and a little bit more of a breakdown of Lewis and how he was going, especially with his family. You know, he was constantly looking at his family throughout this episode and how Frank was interacting, and it was kind of like he felt that Frank had something that he did not, even though Frank is listed dead, and so is Micro, or Lewis. So now Frank has the attention of his wife, but he has that interaction, and he's feeling like, oh, I want that. All I could do is look
he's
through
feeling
a
left
camera.
out. Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, they need the weapons. And then on top of that, like you said, Madani's looking for her former boss's killer, which was Frank.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's interesting that at the end, not to jump ahead too far, but at the end he's very open about admitting to her that he killed Wolf. Like, he doesn't even bat an eyelash, really. He just kind of tells her, you bet your ass I did, you know. And so she, now that kind of is closed out almost, because now she's got to figure out why. And that's the other thing that we see in this episode is we get a little glimpse into, and this kind of goes into my top 5 a little bit. We get a glimpse of Frank's code, his what this actually is, what this code really is. And it's interesting, that conversation he has with Micro about Micro's family, where he says it's leverage on you. But I think as I rewatched that today, the more and more I watched that scene, I think because Micro knows what Frank's code is, and he knows that he would never hurt his family. So the only reason Frank would be watching his family, or watching his family for leverage, would be because of the people who think Micro is dead. It was a little confusing, but I didn't see Frank as threatening The first time I watched it, it was like he was threatening Micro's family, but I don't think that's what it was.
I didn't get that at all, really, as far as like Frank threatening his family. I think he was just using it to say it was Frank's way of showing his compassion in some ways because he's helping Lewis's family, and then you're seeing it through Lewis's eyes, where he's threatening.
Lieberman's eyes. Lewis is the other army guy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's
Micro.
okay. Yeah, Micro. Right. He's Lieberman. Yeah.
Lieberman, sorry.
Right.
So basically, I see it as, it's like Micro is seeing it as kind of like Frank's trying to take that away from him. And it's not really that way at all. If you look at it, Frank's just being nice. He's trying to help out. He cares for them, and he also sees it from Micro's eyes. But the thing is that he doesn't know how to read Micro. He's not sure what's going on, or he's trying to help him out and get him on the job, as it were. Kind of like somebody in his crew.
I think that's some of it too, and it's also just the fact that I think he realized in this episode, and we're going to see more of it moving forward as you go through other episodes, but we see that his wife still has feelings for him. She still, she doesn't really want to talk bad about him, because as soon as Frank says something about, your old man left you in the lurch with not fixing this stuff, she really goes on the defensive about that, and saying, you don't know him. You don't know anything about him or our relationship. And
Exactly.
Suddenly Frank is taken aback because he realizes that this woman, even though she believes her husband is dead, she still has those feelings, and she's still going to defend him. And so he suddenly apologizes, for saying what he said. So I like that scene, that interaction between him and the wife is really good in this episode.
Oh, especially when Frank takes it aback and he's like, whoa,
this
is not good. But, the interaction between him and Micro's kids, too, is awesome. Lieberman's kids,
isn't it? It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is how you fix a faucet, kid, this and that and the other. And it's like, oh, and he's looking at
And it's kind of a gender reversal there kind of thing, too, in that the son, is the one who he's sending upstairs, and then it's the daughter who's actually under the sink trying to fix it. And he jumps in there to help her. So it's an interesting gender reversal there of what we normally see. Not I don't want to be people thinking I'm saying that females can't work with their hands or do things. Obviously not. That's not what I'm saying. But it is an interesting switch there that we see the son. Even the mother says, yeah, he's being a little ass, kind of thing. And then the daughter is the one who's in there trying to fix the garbage disposal. So it's interesting.
Well, it's definitely great, though. It's like, to me, if when I saw that, it just reminded me of my nieces. Honestly, there are going to be teenagers watching the show, honestly.
Yeah.
But it shows that, a girl can do these things.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and some guys could be like a little bit like, nah. I'm like, I don't want to do that kind of thing.
I think that's an interesting thing to go, as we go back to this, is just that transition of the fact that, and I think we talked about this in the last episode, is that Frank doesn't have anybody to go back to.
No.
Mike does, and he, even though right now he doesn't see any way that he could ever go back with his family, it's still there. And I think Frank recognizes that, is that this guy, there's the chance that this guy can get back with his family, whereas there's no chance for me to get back with my family. Like, my family's gone. His is still existing.
Exactly.
So it's an interesting dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm loving that whole dynamic, but the thing is that Frank never realizes of what he has now. He still has somebody around him. What was her name from Daredevil?
Karen Page. And I wondered about that relationship, because they really there seemed to be, as I rewatched the third episode several times before we talked about it, there really seemed to be a really good dynamic between the two of them that I didn't pick up with her and Daredevil, even though I think there was I can't remember now from Daredevil, there was any kind of romantic relationship between her and him, but really she and Frank seemed to have a better chemistry to me, and maybe that was just the writing or something in the last episode, but that really seemed to be a better romantic type of situation there, that chemistry that they had together.
Definitely. To me, I got that, and it seemed to me it's like, oh, okay, we're the normal people. We're regular. We don't have powers. We don't have superhuman stuff.
Right.
Frank's just a regular guy. She's just a regular gal. Frank's specialty is just surviving and doing what he does best in what he was trained to do. And he's just dealing with all this PTSD and using it for the benefit for other people.
Exactly.
And to doing the right. Now, mind you, it could be considered the wrong thing to do the right, but it's, it's like, it's kind of like the Deadpool or the Punisher ideal of the anti-hero. They're doing heroic things that are bad, but it's for the good.
Yeah, it goes into my notes. How did Micro say it? He said, "You rob badass Peter, so you can pay Psycho Paul," or something like that. Yep. We don't do to any good people. We don't want to put money out there to the bad guys, but we are gonna do this bad stuff. So it's an interesting. But yeah, once we get into our top 5, I'll get more into that idea, I think.
Oh, well, we should actually roll into our top 5.
There you go.
All right, so our top 5 will start.
Go ahead. I think I started last time, so you can start this time.
My top 5, my number 5 will be Madani's efforts to find her superior's killer. Thinking the Greeks had something to do with it. They were talking about the Greeks, some sort of gang or something that was going on. And that was interesting. I wasn't sure how that played into her investigation. If it was, I actually thought that was just a whole side thing that didn't have anything to do with Wolf being killed. Maybe she thought it did, but at the very beginning when she goes in, when her partner comes in to talk to her, she's got it up on a screen. You can see it's kind of out of focus, but you can see Thomas Howell's picture on her computer, that she's obviously still trying to figure this out. And then he starts talking about the Greeks, and all she wants to talk about is Wolf's murder. And he's like, no, we need to talk about this gun running operation that's going on. And then in fact, I had it as one of my notes, that quote that her partner says, that he was a good cop for a dirty cop. So I thought that was an interesting way of looking at it. And if you ever watched, I never watched The Shield, but there was definitely a Shield-esque kind of vibe to that understanding that, hey, this guy's he's a bad guy, but he's still a good cop. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like Michael Chiklis looking into people and then not really looking into himself.
Right. Exactly. Or Harvey Keitel in Bad Lieutenant, that he's trying to solve a murder while he's doing drugs and killing other people, kind of thing. So
cool.
That's good. And that plays kind of into one of mine. My number 5 was what we were talking about earlier about this. Micro says, is it a code? Is it an ethos? What is it? And we're still not clear as to what exactly Frank's code is. We know that he doesn't want to hurt good people, but he's okay with killing a cop if it's a dirty cop. And so that's an interesting, and I'm not sure how that plays in the comic book. We may talk about that in the comic book section a little bit more, because I think in the comics he's very much he tries to avoid hurting police, but I don't remember enough. So yeah, that was my number 5. Really was just this whole code that we still don't know exactly what Frank's is, or what it is. I think, like I said, I think Micro calls it, is it a mantra? Is it a code? Is it an ethos? What is it? So that was kind of mine, is that whole idea of, and that may play out further into the series, or we may even get more into it in the second season, maybe.
Yeah, it definitely will. They're still trying to grow on the character itself, so it's just a matter of, I think when you see this season, it's him forming himself into who he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Very much like how Daredevil was in the very beginning. Nobody saw that coming. You didn't see the actual red suit until the very end.
Till the end, right. I forgot about that.
And then come the second season, it was more of him dealing with his past, and then molding into what he had to become. And then, of course, it led into the Defenders. Because by then, the end of, spoilers, second season of Daredevil, he didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
But the thing was, he was forced to do it in Defenders. So I have a funny feeling that this is just more of an evolution of Frank, of being the Punisher and how it's supposed to be. So I wouldn't be surprised come second season, we're going to see full-on more aggressive Punisher and a little bit more of the story behind Frank and how he's coping. And he might have a little friends behind his side. But we don't know until we get to the end of the season to see where that's going. So, we should really get to my number 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, my number 4 was Micro getting into Frank's mind and Frank getting into Micro's, changing the gun, He was actually cleaning out Micro's gun, saying, hey, and he was relating it to, oh, this is how you treat a dog. He goes, is that my gun? How did you get my gun? And he goes, well, you don't treat it right and this and that. You don't put down, you don't take a dog in and not clean it and not take it out to go to the bathroom. And he just starts going on and on and on. And it basically is showing him, it was like, he goes, oh, I just used that for show. He goes, you don't use that, you don't use dog for show. You have to treat the dog correctly, this and that. There's like this whole conversation about treating your weapon, how Frank saw his weapon and how it was part of him. How you treat a dog, and basically educating Micro, and it's like, to me that was like, all right, they're getting along. It's kind of a rapport where they're okay. This is them coming together. This is like, okay, these two characters are coming together, and you're starting to see this is their friendship. This is their way of being together and to do the common good for whatever they want to do. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's just you know that's going to come up more and more later on.
Yeah,
and it's something that it gives you a laugh and a chuckle, but you know that it's something that's endearing to both of them. But they won't admit it.
I like that whole thing with Micro goes, well, I don't shoot the kid or the dog. I'm the kid in this scenario, right, in this metaphor. That's interesting. For me, my number 4 was Madani's. Her tactical expertise. We really haven't seen that until now, that we suddenly see her turn into this tactician, where she analyzes her partner's, or I guess underling now, she analyzes his plan, his tactical plan, and goes, well, your snipers are in the wrong spot and you need to have a dedicated comm frequency for the snipers beyond the follow team, and nobody needs to talk to, it was really interesting to see her kind of go into that mode of, your guys are in the wrong position. They need to be here, here, and here. And then the guy says, well, did I get anything right? And that was her saying, well, I'm trying to be the supervisor. But really, we saw that tactical expertise of hers suddenly stand out, that she's not only an investigator, she's also got this tactician kind of mind.
Yeah, she definitely is in on looking into what's going on. What's, you could see the gears are growing. They keep rolling around, and they're grueling around trying to figure out what's going on. So she's very prominent what's going on in the actual show. I think that she's going to be very important later on.
Yeah.
So,
so your number 3?
My number 3? That would be Anvil's recruitment and how they treated Lewis. And how they affected him. You know, I don't know if you saw that, but you know, Lewis was, you know, he dug himself a foxhole in the very beginning of the show. Sorry. Movie.
Yeah.
And then he's living in there, and then Frank's old partner from the wartime he brings him out, talks to him, this and that, points it out to him, saying, "Hey, I'm hearing that you're digging a foxhole, this and that. How do I feel?" And then Lewis starts to get into discussion, saying, "Oh, this is how this country feels about me. You want to put me to clean latrines and this and that. This is how they respect me."
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's just very interesting to me. It's just like it's showing that Anvil wants to do something, but they're not seeing exactly how they should care for those guys that they're hiring.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene to me because it would. I mean, I'm not a counselor or anything, but you would think. It seemed to me, and this kind of plays into what my number 3 is, because my number 3 is that Curtis still thinks he can redeem Lewis, because he tells Bill, he says to, when Bill says, well, what's going to happen to him when I cut him loose? Because Bill recognizes that Lewis needs this. Hey, Lewis may need to go back into the field. It may be the best thing for him. It's what he's trained for. It's what he knows how to do. And Curtis is like, no, we need to get him integrated back into society, not throw him back into the war. I think that's what Curtis is looking at, and that was my number 3, was that Curtis is trying to redeem Lewis in that, because, like I said, he tells Bill, when Bill says, what's going to happen to him when I throw him out, Curtis says, well, you do what you do, and then I'll take over from there. And Curtis is going to kind of try to reel him in, is the impression that he's given. But what happens, especially with that conversation Lewis has with Bill, is that he realizes that Curtis is the one who tanked him getting that job. And so yeah, that's an interesting thought, that Curtis has enough influence with Bill to say, don't hire this guy. But yet Bill doesn't really acknowledge that when he talks to Lewis. He tries to get Lewis to understand that, no, this is my decision to cut you loose.
Yeah. It was a really weird, interesting conversation that I saw there. And I was just like, wow, this is interesting. Yeah, I really liked it. The thing is that, it's all about manipulation and the way that company is. What is Anvil doing?
Yeah, because at first, when he's first talking to those guys, and he's got them all lined up, and he says, were you the country spent $50,000 training you, and then if you were special forces, that's another $150,000. If you were a corpsman, that's another $200,000, or whatever the numbers are. And it almost sounds like he's bringing together a mercenary corps that he's trying to recruit. He's trying to find these guys who are, and Lewis is like the perfect one, would fit exactly into the mold of what he wants, you would think. And I actually put that in my notes, is that what's the difference between Frank and Lewis? Yeah. Because really they're very similar, maybe not quite. Lewis may not be quite as well trained as Frank is, but he definitely has some of the same qualities. And my answer was that it comes down to the differences between, what did I write? Hold on. It's the difference is loyalty, and the code is we haven't yet seen, because as soon as Bill tells him he's not going to get the job, he immediately turns on Curtis. There's no loyalty there to Curtis as a brotherhood. And in fact, he walks away saying something about screw the brotherhood or something like that. And Frank is definitely about the loyalty and the brotherhood, and then Frank has that code.
And if you remember back at that episode we last talked about, where Frank cold cocks the high command in the eye, it was all about loyalty.
Right.
That was that whole thing. It's like, Frank has that loyalty, but guess who becomes the turncoat? Curtis.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. It's like, and then what? Now Curtis is starting to see this in him and trying to steer him in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's like I said, that's kind of an interesting kind of thing to see what happened, what's going to happen moving on with him. So.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The way the everything plays out is you start to see things come back around.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that Frank's on the opposing side and Curtis is on the other side.
Right.
And, it's like kind of times have changed.
Right. Well, and that's interesting, too, because Curtis hasn't tried. He's kind of tried to coax Frank into the group, but he really hasn't pushed him to get into the group. Whereas with Lewis, he's taking an active role in trying to involve him and, like I said, integrate him kind of back into society, where maybe Curtis just feels that Frank is a lost cause. I'm not sure, but it's interesting. You would think he would be actively trying to integrate Frank back in, being his close friend.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting.
Well, if you look at it now, it's like Curtis doesn't even know that Frank's still alive. So,
no, Curtis knows. No, Curtis knows he's alive. Bill doesn't know he's alive.
Oh, okay.
But Curtis is the one who's been talking to him.
Oh,
and
all right. I got him backwards.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Bill was the one. Yeah. So Bill was the one I was trying to convince Lewis. That's right. So,
yeah.
But the thing is that Bill can never. If you think about it, go back a bit, when you saw Frank talking about, he was like, oh, I got to go see the boss. He was constantly thinking about the real world and what's going on. Getting home. And now, mind you, Lewis is home, but wants to get back in.
That's interesting.
And he, and then Bill's like, no, and he's trying to integrate him in some way and saying, hey, this doesn't look good for the other guys, this and that and the other. You're digging a foxhole. It's like, do these guys feel comfortable about being with you, doing these stuff, all this stuff at home that you're doing, and, are they going to be able to trust you? The thing is, it's very much almost like what Frank would be doing if he was put in that same role.
Yeah. If Frank was still if he didn't have his wife and kids, but was in the real world and was trying to live and didn't have this mission which is going to be interesting. That's the only problem that I foresee with the TV show as opposed to like the comic book, because the comic book, he's got this very, very wide mission of getting rid of bad guys altogether.
Yeah, he's
not
in the comic. Yeah,
right. But he focuses on one, and then he moves on to the next. And we're going to have to see how is that going to play out in the TV world, as far as how they're going to do that. Because presumably he's going to finish out this season by finishing this mission, and then okay, where's the next mission going to come from, and where's the next mission going to come from after that? So it's going to be interesting to see how it moves into the next season, and if we see this mission. This mission is obviously going to come to some sort of conclusion. We saw in Daredevil, even he had a little bit of closure in that he killed the Colonel, and then he finds out in this one that Wolf actually ordered his wife and kids killed. And so he kills Wolf, and so now he's moving on to kind of the next section. And so is it going to become a thing where every season we're going to have a new person who goes, oh, no, I was the one who actually ordered and ordered your wife, or are we going to move on to different missions? It's going to be interesting to see, because I don't know if you ever watched the TV show Burn Notice on USA. But that was my big issue with that show was every season it seemed like he found somebody else who was involved in getting him burned getting his cover burned. It was like every season there was another big bad guy. Oh no, this isn't the ultimate bad guy. This is the ultimate bad guy. And then the next season, oh no, this is the ultimate bad guy. And so I hope we don't get that in Punisher. I hope they find a way to make it fresh and new and don't just keep going to, oh no, this is the bad guy, you know.
Yeah, that's the one thing that always strayed way away from Burn Notice, but it kept me intrigued because of all the like cool things that they would do within the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff in Burn Notice was a good show. It just like that was the one thing that perturbed me about it, and I hope that's not what happens in Punisher.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I always liked Bruce Campbell as Sam and
yeah,
and Jeff as the main character. It was, to me, it was like awesome, but you know, it's like, you know, you only get so many of those shows.
right. Yeah, there's not a lot of those shows that can captivate you from week to week and show you something new each time. So
it was like the MacGyver of its time.
Sure, I'll give it that. You know, using telephone books in the car doors, in the car panels to make it bulletproof and things like that. You know, it was interesting stuff. So I think that gets us to our number 2.
Sure. My number 2 was Frank saving Madani and then warning her to stay out of his way.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, that it was like that whole car chase and then going into that and then at the very outcome of that, you know.
Yeah. Micro getting his hands dirty.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, to me, it's like, wow. It's like he actually saved her and then said, here. And then she goes, you are alive. And he goes, yeah, I am alive. And you are Frank Castle. And then he was like, get out of my way. Stay out of my way. And
right.
Gonna do
that's interesting that it shows that she is more, again, just like the beginning, showing us the tactical side of her. It also shows that she's involved in more things than just, she's not totally focused on just whatever her investigation is. But I guess Frank was, because he was part of the unit, wasn't he? That they were trying to investigate. So that's how she would have known that he was okay. Yeah, no, she wasn't. It wasn't as quite as off the numbers for her to recognize Frank. Now that I think about it, I hadn't thought about that until now. That kind of plays into one of mine, which was her car. She had a great car. I don't know if it was Eleanor from the Gone in 60 Seconds. Because they don't ever identify it directly, but that was a great car she had, and that's very sad what happened to it, you know.
Yeah, I really loved the cars in that, though, especially when they were grabbing it, and he was just like, you know, it's like him and Micro were there, and Frank looks over, and he goes, oh, you're going to grab that? He goes, yeah, always get American.
Always buy American. Yeah, I actually had that quote in my notes, always buy American. I really like that because, and that's why I tend to think that what she had was a Mustang, because that's what he took was a Mustang. And so she had some type of Mustang of what it was. So, and
like a Charger.
It didn't exactly have that Charger look to it, but it could have been. I don't know.
Yeah, Dodge Challenger. Who knows? I didn't really get a good look at it, but honestly, I like those muscle cars.
Yeah. It was cool. I even tried to look it up online, and even online, people weren't clear as to what exactly her car was. You know, we know. I mean, you can see that Frank has got one of the new Mustangs, and that red Mustang that he gets, but her car, like I said, I looked it up online, and you can't even, not even online, people know exactly what car it was. But that plays into what my number 2 was, in that it was cool to see what may become the War Wagon, because that was one of my things that I liked about the Punisher comic book, And in fact, even in I mentioned those books, the Mac Bolan books from the 70s. He had his own kind of war wagon. It was a van that he drove around and that had his guns and ammo in it. And we see that when he tells Micro. I mean, you look at this chop shop, which that comes out of the blue too, because we have no clue what was going on there. Those guys were interrogating. Apparently the guy that runs the chop shop, looking for something that I don't know. They never reveal what was going on there. Yeah. And you have all these muscle cars and Lamborghinis and things like that. And then there's a van in the back. And, there's like one van among all these sports cars. And okay, it's kind of a little heavy handed there on that idea. If they'd shown more vans, maybe we could have bought it a little better, but it was cool that he says to Micro, you get the van and I'll take this car.
I think that might have been just a callback to the actual comic saying, hey, this is eventually where it's going to go to.
Right. Yeah, what we're going to see him in. And in fact, in the first episode, when it shows him driving, I guess it was an SUV actually in the first episode, I thought that's what that was supposed to be. That was going to be the war wagon kind of thing that he was in at the very beginning when he's running down those biker guys in the first episode. But of course we never saw that again. And so now he's got the van. So
at least they got the van.
Exactly.
So let me go to number 1, which actually leads to the actual chase itself. Oh my God. That was really awesome to watch.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm a fan of those shows and those movies. I loved Gone in 60 Seconds. I loved Vanishing Point, and I loved
Vanishing Point.
Yeah, Vanishing Point, the original. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kowalski is. I'm sorry. That is the best car chase known to man on movie. I'm sorry. But
okay. We can argue about Bullet and French Connection, but I'll let you have this one because Vanishing Point is a great movie, especially that original, and it's the whole movie. But yeah, it's a good one. But you can't really turn your back on Bullet and French Connection because those are two.
Oh no, I'm not. But my favorite is Vanishing Point. Sorry.
I'll give it to you. And that whole chase scene is really good. The only and this is going to kind of play into future episodes when they talk about it. It just kind of surprises me that she was the only car they got. That there was literally no other cars. Now I understand they said that at the beginning. The tactical, when she was talking at the beginning, she was very clear that she wanted the follow car and only the follow car to be involved in that sequence, and that every other law enforcement was told to stay out of it. But it just seems a little strange that the arrest team wasn't close enough to what was going on to join in that chase, that it ended up just being her.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it seemed too open, is what you're saying. Yeah. It's like, all right, let's clear the streets and let's go from there.
There's nobody else literally out, and then especially for Micro to be able to double back to hit her car. And there was a sequence there that I tried to rewatch it before we started recording earlier, but I didn't get a chance, when she's chasing Frank. And then somehow Micro gets away because, Frank says to Micro, you get to the highway, I'll let her, I'll lead her away. And then we cut to a few scenes later and she and Frank are now driving at each other in this kind of chicken kind of sequence. Yeah. And then Micro hits the car and wraps up the show, the episode. Yeah. The ending of that, I mean, as much as I love that whole chase, the ending is kind of awkward to me, just the way it was edited. And I've been so impressed with the editing in this show before, but that that sequence there kind of got me a little quizzical about, well, how did he get?
Yeah, where did
you
he,
know
how did he get there, and why are they facing each other now?
right? Why did Frank let himself get into a dead end? If that's what it was, it just was a little awkward the way they stopped it, but it's a great scene.
Oh, it might be on the extended DVD version. Who knows?
We'll see.
So yeah, that chase part was my number one.
Okay.
What did you have?
Just the car. Her car was my number one. I like those. Like, I'm with you. I like those old muscle cars. I like those movies. The Gone in 60 Seconds. The Vanishing Point. All those kind of things. I really like those movies and those things. And here in Oklahoma, we have the TV show Street Outlaws, where they've always got different muscle cars that they're racing and stuff. And so I hear a lot about those muscle cars. So I really liked that whole, just her car. I liked it the first time we saw it when she drove into the parking garage. And then, now, if you remember the movie from the 80s or the 90s, whenever it was, Cobra with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And he had that car, so all those kind of movies that kind of give that car thing. It's really cool.
Well, think of the Interceptor from Mad Max too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's awesome as well.
Exactly.
It's stuff we grew up with. We loved all that stuff, like Knight Rider and the Dukes
Mm-hmm.
of Hazzard and all that stuff. Yeah. But it's one of those things where, as a kid, you just love cars and you just want to have that car. It's like the Batmobile was the best thing because how many incarnations of those did we have?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from Adam West to Michael Keaton to Christian Bale, all the different ones, and all the different ones in between that we've seen. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, it's like comics have gone into such a more of a medium now, where like you just look around and there it is.
Yeah. Well, did you have anything else that?
No, that was about it. Wasn't much this week that I was thinking about talking about. Haven't really seen too much in comic news.
No, not too much. I had a couple things I wanted to add before we wrap up. Is that I love the line when at the beginning when Madani is talking to her supervisor and he says, "You don't need a babysitter, you just a priority check." I kind of like that. I like that line. And then and this kind of plays into probably some of what of your nephew. I don't know what his reasoning was for joining, but for me, there's a line when Bill is walking through those guys, and he says that we joined up to have our lives not be gray. And I really liked that, because that idea of the black and white, and that's, when I joined the military in 1989, and I joined because I wanted to serve my country. Yeah. And that was my idea. Was I didn't want to live a life that just meant nothing. I wanted to have some meaning, and that's what that whole part of that whole thing that he's talking about is about. So I really liked that concept, that idea of him walking through those guys, reminding them of why they had done what they did. I really, really enjoyed that. So, but that was all I had for the episode. I'm kind of with you. I looked for some news. The only thing I could find was I think it was during one of the Comic-Con or one of the convention panels. John Bernthal was talking about who he'd like to work with in future things. And he talked about in the Defenders, I guess he'd love to work with Daredevil again and work with Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter.
Yeah.
That character, that actress. And there was another one I just saw before we started recording that talked about him wanting to work with some other actor that he'd love to work with in the future. So that was I didn't really see anything else new. We've already talked about the fact that it's been renewed for a second season, so it is going to come back.
Yeah, well, it is the new year, so everything is still ready to come out. We have a lot of movies to look forward to.
Yes, yeah, and I've got Movie Pass, and I still haven't used it. I'm so horrible. So I hear them talking about it on the Patreon call and in the different groups and stuff that we're both involved in. And I've got it. I've just never actually used it yet. So I'm one of those ones that Jason keeps talking about. I think he's said it a couple times. He said, "I don't think this thing is going to last unless they have a lot of people who do it and don't use it."
I have not really gotten a chance to actually get into it completely, and I'm really bad about that. Mainly for the fact that I haven't had much time with the holiday season. If I had gotten that before the holiday season, I would not have used it. I would have maybe used it maybe 2 or 3 times. And that's not really worth it. To me, I really need to jump back into it. I'm hoping it's going to settle down and I actually could do something more and more. And if I could get into it, it'd be awesome because I would really like to be like Ben Beck and see like one movie 5 times. You know, to me, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's like,
according to my nephews and my sister's ex-husband, it works great. They use it all the time, you know. And they go see all sorts. Her ex-husband lives there in Idaho. That's a whole weird thing that I'm not going to try to get into. But he lives in Idaho now, and so when we went there to visit over the break, he was talking about this Movie Pass, and that he'll go to movies that he doesn't even want to watch just to use it. You know. Yeah. Well, so.
Like Ben had mentioned that he went to go see a movie. He wasn't liking it. He was skeptical. I was skeptical about it, and then he went to go see it and tells me, he goes, it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
That was downsizing. And I was just like, I really wanted to see that. And he goes, dude. I was like, eventually I'll probably see it. But the thing is that, okay, I might not just jump to the theater to go see it.
Yeah, I wanted to see that one. And once I heard kind of the negative reviews about it, I was like, I'll wait till it comes out on video.
It was like Gulliver Travels with, Jack Black again. But the only difference is it's more of a social commentary than anything.
Okay.
It was meant to be like, we'll miniaturize ourselves, and then we won't have to the cost effective of life. It's like the cost of living is not as much because if you buy this bottle of liquor, it lasts you like 3 months to a year.
Yeah.
Because you're so small,
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is like, it's like, okay, all right, and then land is so cheap because you're only, doing like maybe 5 inches worth of land and all this other nonsense. To me, it's like, okay, I really don't know. I would like to see it, and eventually I will, but there are other movies. To me, I'm just looking forward to all the stuff that I like and I'm more interested in. Those are the money getters for me. It's like, okay, I want to go see Infinity Wars. I want to go see all these other films that I just want to go see because I've been anticipating them.
Right.
Yeah, there's only so many movies out there, and this is the downtime of the year, so obviously it's like there's only.
Well, we're in that time period now where we're going to get more movies that are trying to get Oscars, and I do want to see the Christian Bale one that's coming out, Hostiles. That looks, at least for what the trailer says, the reviewers like it, so we'll see. That one I may go see, but yeah, this is that time of year when everybody's trying to get an Oscar. So
yeah, it's that time of the year when everybody wants to get an Oscar, and then on top of that, everybody's just like, we're kind of burnt from like whatever it was before the holidays.
Right.
And it's like, to me, I still want to go see, but I have not seen it listed in the theaters by me, was The Disaster Artist.
Yeah, I want to see that. I'm torn because so many people have said so many good things about it, and I watched The Room a long time ago. I watched it just because people said how bad it was, and but I've also heard people say that you don't need to have watched The Room to enjoy Disaster Artists. So
yeah, that's what I was told too. But I had seen The Room, all because that Ross Marquand made fun of me.
Yeah, that is fun. I heard that story. I was just listening to the listener, the Patreon call from last month. finally getting around to. I was traveling on the day that was recorded, so.
He was like, "Hi, Mark." I was like, what, huh?"
I don't. Yeah,
I was like,
I wouldn't have got it either because I've only watched it once. So.
I was like, I only watched it once too, and I was like, and that was so long ago, and I'm like, okay, what the hell are you talking? It's like over my head. I'm bald.
Yeah.
It just like flew by me, it slid off my head. And he's like, he goes, "Oh, you didn't see the disaster artist?" Like, "No." "Did you see The Room?" I'm like, "Yeah, a long time ago." He goes, "How?" I was like, "I don't know, probably cable or something."
Yeah, I think I think I got it on. I think I got the disc on Netflix a long time ago when I was hearing about how bad it was. So, but
I don't know how I came about it, but I actually did see it, and I realized I did see this movie. What the hell?
Yeah.
Really? This was a terrible movie. This is like Troll 2. And they made a documentary about that.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
This has been great, Mark. I know it's late for you and it's late for me, and it's not too late for me, but it's later for you, and I appreciate it, and I hope we get to do it again. I hope people like it, and I hope your guy gets you picked up on iTunes because that'll be easier way to listen to it. Really, it's tough for me. Because I have an iPhone, so when I download, I get the link in Facebook and I save the link, and then if I listen to it, if I keep it open or I keep the page at least on my phone, I can go back to it. But if I close out that page, then I have to kind of try to fast forward and figure out, okay, where was I at, and that kind of stuff. So, but I enjoy this. Most of the time. Today is just a bad day. But I really do enjoy doing it, and I hope we get to do some more of these. Did you say, now have you got people slated for the later episodes, or are we still...
if you want to come on for the next one, you're more than welcome. If you want to do 5 and 6, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
I'm not... And then,
just message me. Monday nights are good. Tuesday nights are okay for me, usually. But as I said, Monday and Tuesdays is really pretty good most of the time.
All right.
For me, if that is what works for you. So.
Yeah, whatever works for you is fine with me. Thank you for listening to Panels to Pixels. This is Mark Kirkman. That was Steve Brown. If you want to get in touch with us, you could actually contact us through our Facebook page, which is through Panels to Pixels. Or you could actually email us at panels2pixels1@gmail.com. And you could leave any feedback you want. And we'll actually read it. I have not received anything, but if we do, we will read it. And thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.